with every book that you pick up, you've got to take a chance. And you never know what you're in for quite until you get to the first page. And such is with this book. Oh, and actually in my copy here, I actually just found a weird sticky note. Someone's personal notes. That's always fun. But, and it's about Ayn Rand. Well, that's interesting. Anyway, let's begin the one-page test. This is The Dice Man, a novel by Luke Rinehart. And again, I'm going to skip all the... there's some very interesting quotes and funny little things happening here in the prefatory material. But we'll start right at the big number one. I am a large man, with big butcher's hands, great oak thighs, rock-jawed head, and massive, thick-lens glasses. I'm 6'4" and weigh close to 230 pounds. I look a little like Clark Kent, except that when I take off my business suit, I am barely faster than my wife, only slightly more powerful than men half my size, and leap buildings not at all, no matter how many leaps I'm given. As an athlete, I'm exceptionally mediocre in all major sports, and in several minor ones. I play daring and disastrous poker, and cautious and competent stock market. I married a pretty former cheerleader and rock and roll singer, and have 2 lovely, non-neurotic and abnormal children. I am deeply religious, have written the lovely first-rate pornographic novel, The Dance of Maya, and am not now, nor have I ever, been Jewish. I realize that it's your job as a reader to try and create a credible, consistent pattern out of all of this. But I'm afraid I must add that I am normally atheistic, have given away at random thousands of dollars, have been a sporadic revolutionary against the governments of the United States, New York City, the Bronx, and Scarsdale, and am still a card-carrying member of the Republican Party. I am the creator, as most of you know, of those nefarious dice centers for experiments in human behavior, which have been described by the Journal of Abnormal Psychology as outrageous, unethical, and informative, by the New York Times as incredibly misguided and corrupt, by Time magazine as sewers, and by the Evergreen Review as brilliant and fun. I have been a devoted husband, multiple adulterer, an experimental homosexual, an able, highly praised analyst, and the only one ever dismissed from both the Psychiatrists Association of New York, PANI, and from the American Medical Association for ill-considered activities and probable incompetence. And that, my friends, is one hell of a first page. How many books do you read that give you an introduction like that? We are given this enigma of a character. He is so chaotic in his presentation. It's no surprise that he is the narrator of The Dice Man. He's an anomaly, and as he even sort of references in a meta way, you're probably trying to figure out a way to piece all of this together, but how exactly are you going to piece all these factual bits of information about me? This is a controversial man, a transgressive man, someone who is upset a lot of people, someone who has sort of broken the boundaries, and his way in describing himself is it's very vivid, it's very blunt, and it's also ironic and humorous and witty as well, especially with the critical reception that he lists at the end of that first page. But yeah, he really just gives you a mess of sort of like almost struggling to describe who he is. And is it any surprise? I have actually continued. I've turned the page on this one already, and I've continued reading it. Very, very interesting, very brutal story. Some people have compared it to Fight Club, which I could see the comparison there. And I can absolutely see sort of the language style, but I think this this has sort of remained a cult novel. I'm not sure if it was ever turned into a film or if anything ever came of it, but needless to say, I was sort of taken aback by this book. To a certain extent, I enjoy books that sort of push the envelope and are challenging. And I don't necessarily mean challenging like Infinite Jest. And maybe we'll do a first page on that one, see how I feel about it. But I like books to sort of, I don't necessarily see books as this safe place to go and, retreat from the world. I mean, you can do that. But I more or less want to be confronted with something that I might learn from. But I think we got something solid here. Very great opening. And the prefatory material, which I didn't read, is actually very good as well. He's got a reworked he's got reworked material from the Bible, but he's sort of replaced all the references to Jesus with like chance. So basically, he's come as an agent of chance, and then he's got some quotes from some different figures. Very whimsical, very inventive presentation. So I'm going to keep reading it. Let me know what you thought. Have you read The Dice Man? Or would you like to read it now that you have a taste for what it's all about? Let me know.